Hey Giovanni, it's Lauren. I am sending one last story for the year because if you're not already out on summer break, I'm sure you will be very soon. But this one is called Dopey and it's written by Anne Hart. Jason raced to the car after school. Dad, I'm in the school play. Great, what's the play? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Let me guess, you're the king? Nope. The prince? Nope. Give up? I give up. I'm Dopey. Dopey, huh? That's a pretty important part. I have to do a dance by myself. I'm going to be the best Dopey ever. Good for you. The second graders had play practice every day. The show was only 3 weeks away. Jason learned his dance quickly. He kicked his legs and jumped 3 times. He spun in a circle and touched the floor. He clapped his hands and jumped again. Then everyone came out and bowed. Jason practiced at lunchtime. He practiced before bed. He practiced at school and at home. He even practiced at swimming lessons. It was the day before the show, and Jason was ready. He practiced one more time before he went to bed. Dad tucked him in. Ready for tomorrow? Jason nodded. Will there be lots of people? Dad pulled up the blanket. I don't know. Maybe. Jason snuggled into the covers. I hope there won't be too many. Dad turned off the light. Don't worry, you'll be fine. It was almost time for the show to start. Jason peeked through the curtains. The lights in the auditorium were still on. He could see his father in the front row. The room was filled with people. They were watching the stage. Jason's stomach felt funny. He wiped his hands on his baggy, dopey pants. He could feel his heart beating. Could he dance in front of all these people? The show started. The dwarves walked out on stage. Jason went with them. Snow White ate the poisoned apple and fell asleep. The prince woke her up. The show was almost over. It was time for Dopey's dance. Everyone left the stage except Jason. He looked into the crowd. His dad smiled and waved. There were so many people. Jason couldn't move. He stared at the audience, and they stared at him. His legs wobbled, and his stomach hurt. Suddenly, someone turned on a spotlight. Jason blinked. He looked at the audience again. He couldn't see them. The stage was as bright as a sunny day. The audience was in darkness. It seemed like they had disappeared. Jason closed his eyes for a second. The music started, and so did Jason's feet. He kicked his legs and jumped 3 times. He spun in a circle and touched the floor. He clapped his hands and jumped again. The spotlight went out and Jason could see the audience. They were clapping. His dad stood up. Other people did too. The rest of the class came onto the stage. They held their hands and took a bow. Dad found Jason after the show. He gave him a big hug. You were right, he said. Right about what? Said Jason. You were the best Dopey ever. Okay, so here's a couple questions to see kind of what you thought about the story. So the first one is the author of this story probably feels that performing in front of others is what? So this is, kind of a tough question, but we'll break it down. So they're asking us how we think the author of this story might feel about performing in front of others. And we don't really know how the author feels because this story isn't about the author. It's about her character, Jason, and how he plays Dopey in a show. But that being said, a lot of times writers get their inspiration for a character based on their own life. So a lot of times the way a character thinks and feels in a story is, it could be how the author feels. So knowing that, we could probably guess then that the author feels nervous about performing in front of a group of people, right? Because in the days leading up to the show, Jason was nervous, and then when he was on the stage performing, he got some stage fright. So we could probably guess she's a little nervous about performing in front of others. So the next question is, how do you think the author feels about practicing before a performance? So it's kind of similar, to the first question. Even though we don't know for sure how she feels, we can probably guess that she thinks it's important because, when they had the play coming up in 3 weeks, the class practiced together every single day. And then Jason even practiced on his own time. He practiced at lunchtime and then he practiced at home before he went to bed and even practiced during his swimming lessons. So we can guess that she probably thinks it's an important thing to practice before a performance. And I think this was a good story for us to end on because, we've been practicing your reading all year. And, practice, the more you practice, the better you get at something. And, there's that saying, practice makes perfect. So I think, practice is really important too. And you are a great reader. You've gotten better and better each week that we were able to talk this year. And I know we haven't talked in a little while, but I know that you're practicing reading at home, and I know that you're just going to keep getting better and better. So you did a great job this year, Jovanni, and it was so nice to meet you and to get to know you and to be able to practice with you. All right, you have a great summer and take care. Bye.